He, being the father of the nation currently and holding the highest elective office in the nation, and being in an office that is seen as the symbol of national unity, he even held a town hall meeting, a public town hall meeting, to convince us of how well the new university funding model was working. And he held it as a savior of the university institutions in the Republic. And he said, this new funding model, coupled up with loans and help and capitation for students who actually need the help, they will be helped better under the new university funding model as opposed to the old one. That the old one was not functional, that it was giving help to people who did not deserve it, to people who could actually afford it. It was a good thought. But after all the hailing and after all the campaign for that new funding model, telling us that it will now, all the problems of the university funding project will disappear. Today, the Treasury CS has come out with some truth. And we thank God that he's not part of the UDA government, because I don't know if he would have come out with, I mean, he's not part of the UDA party. I don't know if he would have come out with this truth. And for that, I commend him for. Now, this is the hard truth about the new university funding model. When I made a video and several others made videos, and people on the streets, people at home were saying that we are having to do Harambee to send our kids to school. We are being allocated to the wrong bands and we are not able to afford. People said we were unfair to the government. Government bloggers bashed us right, left, center, and told us that we were enemies of progress and enemies of truth and enemies of this government. The government that held that model as a savior of the universities and the students who actually need help. This is what their CS is saying to the nation. Treasury CS Buddy hints at staff layoff, closure of satellite campuses, and outsourcing in underfunded institutions. Says government cannot meet sponsored students' needs. 10 years, Mzee Mwai Kibaki funded government-sponsored students in universities. For 10 years, Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, as bad as he was, funded students in university seamlessly. In 3 years, a government led by individuals who held themselves as the saviors of the nation and as the problem solvers of the nation and the angel-like solution to our problems with a colorful manifesto is telling us that the government cannot meet the needs of government-funded students, government-sponsored students. I mean, why are we even then calling them government-sponsored students? Now, bad news to you, parent who cannot afford that university fee, is that one, universities will more than triple or 4 times or 5 times or quadruple their fees to be able to run those institutions. You see that satellite campus that was in your area and your child was able to access it easily, rather than go, if maybe they are placed in Nairobi University, rather than come all the way to Nairobi, it will be closed down because the government cannot fund it. Because the only other option is this: you fund it as a parent. That means you pay more than 5 or 10 times of the school fees you pay currently. Already as we speak, very many students, thousands, are dropping out of university, public universities. And these are government-sponsored students. We are not even talking about the self-sponsored students who are dropping out due to the fact that the economy is harsh to Kenyans and some Kenyans can no longer afford to pay this fee. Now, these are government-sponsored students because help has not come through. Thereby, their life in school is not able to be sustained. 2, their parents can no longer afford the high fees that are being charged by universities. This will lead to a generation that is not educated properly. 2, it will lead to increase in crime, because what are you telling a child who did his best in school, who came out top of their class or among top of those who topped their class, went to university. What are you telling medical students from poor backgrounds who worked so hard to get those A's, to get those B's, or to get those high grades to be able to be accepted into these top cream programs? We have shortage of doctors in this country. What do you do to those doctors who cannot be educated in school because their parents can no longer afford the fee that the university will be charging from now on? Because the universities have to survive, so they'll have to charge it on the parents. Where do you want those students to go? Those are our doctors of tomorrow. Those are our pilots of tomorrow. Those are our engineers of tomorrow. Those are the experts of tomorrow that we rely on in 10, 15, 20 years. Those are the experts we rely on to be driving the economy of this nation. Where do you want Otieno, who went to school, performed exceptionally in mathematics, performed exceptionally in English, performed exceptionally well in geography, performed exceptionally well in physics, and he comes from a family that can barely even afford basic needs or even 3 meals in a day, who had hope the moment he was placed by KUCCPS into Nairobi University to undertake medicine? Who is the hope? The family has done everything. They have sacrificed everything they have so that Otieno can be educated properly, become a doctor, and support his family. Where do you want Otieno to go to? Where do you want Kamau Wanjiro to go to? Where do you want them to disappear to? Why? Something that was done by the first government for 10 years, the second government for 10 years. Your government in 3 years can no longer do it. This begins to question the legitimacy of this government. When we say enough is enough, these are some of the things that make us say enough is enough. That change must come. It is no longer an option. It is no longer something we are thinking of. It is something that the country needs. How can you have destroyed the education sector in 3 years? Something that was sustained for 10 years, 20 years, by two successive administrations with little to no hitches. So how is the university funding model failing so much yet you held it as a savior of the institutions and the students who desperately needed our help? Where are our taxes going to? You tell us you don't have money for university funding model and to support, and you cannot afford the needs of government-sponsored students anymore. Yet you drive in 25, 50 million shillings cars. Yet you're wearing watches, you and your ministers and your government are wearing watches worth 5.2 million shillings and above. We are seeing government state officers with shoes worth 200,000, 600,000, a million shillings. We are seeing people with shirts, state officers worth 180,000 shillings. State House overspent its budget last year in the year that ended June. With a budget of 3 billion, it spent 11 billion shillings. It overspent by over 5 times. Your government is doing renovations right, left, center of State House and state lodges. The government is building houses in the name of affordable houses we do not need. We were not sleeping outside anyway. And it's not like those houses are housing the street children. And it's not like those houses are for free. We don't need the houses. Why don't you even now take the money from affordable housing and just use it to fund the education? Education is our most important tool. This is one of the things that make this country attractive to even get labor from by other countries, because we are an educated nation. We are literate. But we have seen you from afar. You want to make us a dumb nation. But it will not work. In the end, these evil plans for our country will fail spectacularly. And Kenyans and the will of the Republic of Kenya will prevail. That is my unfiltered insights.